Yo, what's going on, you guys? It's your boy 3 Stacks in this thing, baby, representing Team Kings of Games. And I'm coming at you guys with the list what I've been working on for a long time. I got the cards back in San Antonio Regionals. I got all the danger cards. And this is an update for my Darkworld brainwashing list that had no dangers in the first place, but now I have them. And I've legitimately spent over a month playtesting this list, getting it to the perfect list. I did not want to upload like chicken scratch. I didn't want to upload like how you would say, like basically I guess you could say like a rough draft or anything like that. I wanted to upload this list after I got it as perfect as I can make it. This is Danger Darkworld Brainwashing. This is not an FTK. We're playing old school Yu-Gi-Oh! We're interacting with our opponent. We're playing some Yu-Gi-Oh! We're having fun in the process. We're trying to set up as many disruptions as we can, and the deck is really good with pumping out negations, interactions on your opponent's turn, even if it's just minuscule disruptions. Also, it can 6-card hand loop you, which is just, you know, spoiler alert, be cautious and worry about that. The main goal of the deck, though, is to get to brainwashing and loop it as many times as you possibly can, because that is one of the win conditions of the deck. Without further ado, I'm going to hop into my list. I am showcasing you guys Danger Dark Worlds. So let's get into it. We'll start off with the Dark Worlds. We're playing 2 copies of Grapha. We play 3 copies of Silva, 3 copies of Gold. By the way, I'm going to explain the card choices after I lay them out. 3 copies of Snow and 3 copies of Brow. Now, Dark Worlds are basically 10 years old or more. They're as old as Lightsworns are. So, like, if you are asking what these cards do, you're probably just new to the game. But I will explain that Dark Worlds have 2 effects. All of the Dark Worlds have 2 effects. And by the way, spoiler alert, nothing's once per turn. This is back in the day in Yu-Gi-Oh! Where we didn't believe in hard once per turn because like cards just weren't that overpowered. But I do think that the Dark World archetype itself, even though dangers are ridiculously powerful, I think Dark Worlds are extremely powerful as well. And it's not, forget the whole not once per turn thing. They have ridiculously unfair effects if they're discarded by your opponent's card effect. And we play a card that lets us do that. So, I'll be reading to you guys the effects that they get when they're discarded by an opponent's card effect. So, Brow can draw one initially, but when they're discarded by an opponent's card effect, they get both effects simultaneously, and it's not building chain links on itself. It's all one effect. So, you can get the missing link of the effect by being discarded by your opponent's card effect. So, Brow draws 2 cards. Snow is always going to search, but if it's discarded by an opponent's card effect, it gets the additional surplus of its second half of its effect. It can reborn any monster from your opponent's graveyard, which is nuts. So you search and reborn, draw 2 cards, which is not bad at all. And you can special summon Gold and Silva, special summon themselves if they're discarded. And this is if and not when effects, so they do not miss timing ever, no matter where they are in the chain link. He can special himself, and then he can destroy up to 2 cards on your opponent's field. That's really powerful because you do that on your opponent's turn. So when you're able to just interact with them in that way, changing their monster effect to what you want it to be, and then nuking cards on their field just helps you to out-resource them. Silva is the most powerful one of them all. He is the win condition. He's one of the win conditions of the deck. Him, Brainwashing, Gumblar, Griffin, Trigate, all these insane boards. Like, by the way, Gumblar, Griffin, Trigate with an underclock is so easy to make. It's like the weakest board I've ever made with like Brainwashing, and that's still like literally interruption off of Trigate, Floodgate off of Griffin, Brainwashing telling you no. Like, it's just so powerful, and Gumblar triggering, so good. But what Silva does is and they're all mandatory. They're not optional. You have to use their effects. So like that's kind of a good thing too. But yeah, so Silva, what he does is he forces your opponent. Like, your opponent does not have a choice. And these resolve when they're discarded. So like, if they're discarded and they're summoned, your opponent can't say, oh, I chain impermanence. The effect resolves the second it's discarded. That is the opportunity your opponent has to respond, which makes these even more powerful and harder to counter, because like you have to like call by them or ghost bell them because they do move their self from the graveyard to the field. But you cannot impermanence or Veiler them because their effects are not on summon, and on field, all the Dark Worlds on field are vanillas, basically. They don't have effects on field. Their only effects are if they're discarded. So really, you have to keep that in mind. That's really imperative knowledge that you use to your advantage. The fact that this cannot be impermanence, which is really important. But he forces your opponent to take 2 cards from their hand and put those 2 cards on the bottom of their deck in any order. That is ridiculously powerful because it's not once per turn. And you can loop that off of Brainwashing. Like, I did it to Cool where I triggered Silva twice and that was game. Like, it was over. I didn't even Gumblar. Like, I was just like, no, like, this is not right. I'm going to summon him away from the zones that are, like, my Link monsters point to, because I'm just going to go Silva, and that's game. Like, literally, I didn't even want him to discard because he's playing Cubic, so I was like, If he discards Unification and Karma, he can still come back. Let's just Silva, make him put his cards on the bottom of his deck. This is like the best. This is one of the main reasons for me playing Brainwashing. Is because Silva can beat any deck. No matter what deck you're playing, if your cards are going back to your deck, you don't even get graveyard effects. So Burning Abyss, no. Dangers, no. And now Grapha, which is still a beast. Obviously, Grapha really helps you in your resource game. He helps you to plus. A lot of times, hand size really matters because you're playing Dangers, you're RNGing, and the percentage of you hitting them not hitting the danger you revealed is higher based on how many cards you have in your hand. More cards you have in hand, the better. So Grapha is really good for that, managing your resources, allowing you to loop these cards that are not once per turn, bounce them back, special them again, bounce them back, special them again. Make rank 8s. A lot of times you extra link because of Grapha and Tomahawk. You can just link climb and do basic tri-gate boards because Grapha is just not once per turn. He helps you to really build insane boards, making rank 8s. Again, getting your resources back. He can pop cards on the field, and then his effect, when he's discarded by an opponent's card effect, you look at one random card in your opponent's hand, which is information. If it's a monster, you special summon it to your field. And these are all mandatory. This has to happen. So when you see that monster your opponent has, there's no choice. You have to get it. So it can be good, it can be bad, it just depends. But yeah, the Grapha is insane. Snow and Grapha just take your opponent's stuff. Silva's very mean. People used to hate Darkworlds back in the day because they're just so annoying. They just look at your hand, they take your cards, and they're just really, really aggressive. So yep, those are the Darkworlds, and the Darkworlds are the main reason for playing this deck. The Dangers are just a way to discard your Darkworlds. This deck is not about the Dangers whatsoever. It is about the Darkworlds. We just use the Dangers as a bunch of ways to discard the Darkworlds and replace themselves and build your board. So the Dangers are obviously better than dragged onto the grave and Darkworld dealings and stuff like that. And next up for our Dangers, we're playing 3 copies of Danger Nessie. Nessie is just the best Danger because you can miss with her and still get what you want. Because we play 3 Mothman. Mothman is my favorite Danger in this list because he gives me exactly what I need. He gives me the choice to discard what card I want instead of relying on my opponent discarding my cards, which can be good and bad. Relying on your opponent can be good sometimes, but they're not always going to hit the card you wanted them to hit. So Mothman guarantees that you're going to hit what you need. That's why he's my favorite. Nessie, you can miss with Nessie and miss with Mothman, and you'll still get exactly what you wanted in the first place, which I like a lot. Next up, for more Dangers that you can afford to miss with are 3 Jackalopes. You can miss with this and still build a board with it, which is really nice for rank 8s. We have 3 Chupacabra. Chupacabra, I play 24 Dangers, so he's not as bad as people think he is. I like him a lot, especially bringing back a Bigfoot in attack position in a simplified game state just gets you wins. And then we have 3 copies of Sneck. We gave up our entire Thunder Dragon deck so that we can get these cards and some. Yeah, Sneck's just amazing. It's guaranteed field presence, and that matters because you need your Curios and your Summon Sorcerer's plays to allow you to get your access to your Grapha so you can keep link climbing, building your board, getting an optimal playoff just so that you can counter today's metagame. Next up, since we don't play hand traps, I decided to maximize on 3 copies of Bigfoot, 3 copies of Thunderbird, and 3 copies of Dogman. Now, going first, these are the worst ones to discard because they don't do anything to help you accelerate your game state. They don't progress you any further than where you were. But going second, they help you out a lot, and that's why I like maximizing on them because I don't play hand traps, and it's for a very good reason. It's for obvious reasons, but you still need to be able to break boards, and I feel like relying on RNGing to draw into the one of Bigfoot or searching off of Nessie is just not viable enough. So I decided to max on each of these because I'm not guaranteed to win a dice roll. But if I lose a dice roll and I can still play Yu-Gi-Oh, I can easily just OTK you, just break your board, extra link you, just to style on you. Just really, really good cards. Dogman, Nessie still have the Tomahawk synergy. Thunderbird, Bigfoot, and Grapha still have the rank 8 synergy. You can do rank 4s, you can do rank 5s, you can do rank 3s. There's a lot that the deck can do. It's a very, very flexible, the arsenal that it has and the toolbox that's afforded to the deck. I play 1 Beast. I just really like Beast a lot in this deck. He's just such a great card. He's like having another Brow. You just need really good cards to discard. The Dangers are good. If you discard a Danger off a Danger, it's only good if it's one of these 15 that have not already used their effect, because the only thing that's hard once to return about the Dangers is if they are discarded, but their revealed special is not. So, this deck can be a little unfair in the fact that there's not a lot that is once per turn except the Dangers discard effects. Next up for our spells, we play 3 copies of Allure of Darkness and 3 copies of Beginning of the End. It's really easy to set up for this card. A lot of times, when you're playing this deck, you want to hold your Ash Blossom because there's never a chance they're not going to have it. It's a perk of playing the deck. People are playing this deck are always going to have Beginning of the End. It's not once per turn. Another perk of the deck, like hardly anything's once per turn. I play 1 Gates. I loop my Snows a lot. I know a lot of people have hatred towards Snow, saying she's bad and dangerous because she doesn't give you an actual card. But what's really important is that the cards that you discard replace themselves so that your hand size does not go less than 5. That's really important, and I think that people don't acknowledge that Snow helps you with that, because you can loop 3 Snows, and on the 3rd Snow, you can still get a Brow, and that's still going to get you another card on top of all the massive deck thinning that you just got. Also, you can search this, and this allows you to pick what you discard. The only cost is banishing. It makes your Griffins 2800, which helps all Fiends gain 300. It's really nice. The Sacks, Card Destruction, and Soul Charge, you're always going to see these. Like, I draw through nearly my entire deck, like every duel. It's just a perk of playing the deck. So 1-ofs are really easy to get to in this deck. That's why I decided to play my traps at 1. I play 1 Danger Zone and 1 Darkworld Brainwashing. If this gets Twin Twisted, you just set it off Griffin, so it's totally fine to play 1. This is the main reason for me to play the deck, though. Like, main reason for me playing the deck is because of this card. I just wanted to make a deck with Brainwashing because this is a monster negation that's not once per turn. It's as many times as you want to. As long as you have a Darkworld on the field to bounce, it's just nuts. If you have 3 cards or more in your hand and your opponent activates a monster effect, you bounce a Darkworld monster on the field for cost. Either player's field, just the field. And basically, the activated monster's effect becomes discard a card from your opponent's hand. And like that is your opponent's monster doing it. So because your opponent's monster is the effect that's discarding a card from your hand, you get all the effects of your Darkworlds. That is how it's worked. It's 100% legal. And then Danger Zone's really good, not just for this disruption. Discarding like Bigfoot and Grapha is really nuts. Popping 2 cards in addition to sacking with gold, popping 2 more. It gives me more chances with my Brainwashing to hit the right cards, because you can always use this. If they didn't discard your Silva, you can use this to discard the Silva from your hand plus another danger. Special Silva, and then use Brainwashing to use trigger Silva, which is really nice. So yep, that's the main deck, you guys. Now for the extra deck, we play 1 Gumblar, MVP, Extender. He's a really good card. Like, he helps you to set up your boards. Sometimes I'm like literally too short away from the beginning of the end, so I'll use him to like get those last 2. Like, that's why he's a good extender. Also, sending like Silvas and Golds are really good, setting up for Brainwashing. Just a great interactive combo piece. Really helps you out a lot with their progression of your game state. Good synergy with Danger Zone. Good synergy with Brainwashing. You loop 2 on turn 1, and then on your opponent's turn you hit 2 more, and then you use Silva to hit like 2 more if they even had a hand. Don't forget, you're still negating their cards too, so you're naturally like put them in a huge disposition. And then we have 1 Griffin. Griffin's just amazing. Like, just whenever you lose your Brainwashing, just reset it. Or the turn 1, like the turn 1 Tri-Gate Griffin board is so easy. Like this board is one of my easiest boards to accomplish, and it was so easy to accomplish that it actually just became a basic turn 1 board. Like, it became like how like, you know how Herald of Perfection is just always gonna open Herald, how Galaxy Photon is just always gonna open Soul Flare. It's something like that, where like it just becomes kind of like just a norm. It just becomes like the basic opening play of the deck. It's like the Tri-Gate board with Gumblar and Griffin, which is still ridiculously powerful. I love Tri-Gate. Going first, just a nuts. Like, he's even more powerful going second. Like, you're outing boards with the Dangers and Grapha, and then you're just banishing cards with this OTKing, negating card. Just a really strong card. I love Tri-Gate. He's one of my favorite cards. One of my favorite Link 3s. And then we have Summon Sorcerers and Curios. These help you to get access to your Grapha, loading your grave with Darks for beginning. Also help you to Link Climb. They're like the Link 3s that you go into. You normally, when your hands are good, you go through all of these in one turn. Like, you Summon Source. Like, what I like to do is, I will normally, I'll Curios for the Grapha, and then I'll Summon Sorc, and I'll literally bring out a Silva for the Grapha to bounce in case I haven't seen a Silva, because like I need Silva for my Brainwashing to have its best impact on my opponent. So you'll go through these a lot. If you already have Silva, then the point is using Summon Sorceress to target any Fiend and bring out Grapha, and then link with Grapha, and then special it back from the grave and just keep looping Grapha. And then we have the best Link 2, Master King Archfiend. So broken. You plus so much. It's not once per turn. It's literally like Electrum, Isolde, and the double helix of the deck. It's just the Link 2 that makes the deck pop. Like, I've never seen a deck play this card better. You just get it so many times. Like, it's not once per turn, and you get literally like 13 chances. One time I got the 1 and the 6 effect like 4 out of 13, which is good. You just plus so hard off of it. And it lets you manage your resources. Recycling your cards is really good so that you don't deck out, which happens a lot. We have Underclock, Griffin, and Phoenix. We have Binary, which is better than Proxy, even though I played Tomahawk. I can easily just use Reaper Docus off of Tomahawk. And that's what I do a lot of the times. I use Reaper for my Tomahawk plays, unless I didn't have Tomahawk. But I like Binary better for the OTKs and gaining life points. It just really helps. Like, Binary Tri-Gate is really powerful. Like, double damage and the boost and, like, the increments that you get off of the life point game is just so good. Reaper and Link Spider to sum up the links. You can X-Link so easily with this deck. You don't even need Tomahawk. Like, ask my friends. Like, I've done it just RNGing off of dangers. We have one Tomahawk. I decided to play Lancelot because he's a more universal negate than the Titanic Galaxy is. Everybody doesn't rely on spells to play Yu-Gi-Oh! Unless it's like Sky Strikers. I like this. He negates anything. He can attack directly, and he pops cards, which is just more flexible than Titanic is. It's mandatory to negate, so the first thing that happens is what he negates. So if you're a smart Yu-Gi-Oh! Player, you let your opponent play, and then you negate their card, then you can play. And then we have one Giant Trainer. I just really needed a way to win in time. My turns are very, very long. Very, very long turns, like playing Dangers. Like, you're rolling dice, you're RNGing, you're revealing, you're specialing. You're doing a lot of stuff. It's not like you're intentionally slow playing. It's just like, this is how the deck works. Like, you have to reveal, shuffle your hand, your opponent rolls a die. Like, every time you special a Danger, it takes like at least 30 seconds. So your turns get long, you go to time a lot. You just need a way to burn in your main phase. And plus, he still draws 3 cards. What I would side is definitely Snipe Hunter. And the Dark Worlds that literally nobody plays, and I think it's just because like they don't know that these cards exist. But Cocky and Grin, I love these cards, and I side deck them. Like, my side deck has D7 plus like my Ash Blossoms and my Gammas and Permanences evenly, stuff like that. Like, I can just like filter between different options. But I like, when I take this to an event, like, these are gonna be in my side deck, and like, I want Snipe Hunters. Like, I really want Snipe Hunters. I might main deck the Snipe Hunters because he's so good. Like, we want to play old school Yu-Gi-Oh! But this pops a spell trap on the field, it doesn't target, and this destroys a monster on the field, doesn't target. And again, they're Dark Worlds, so they're not once per turn. They're really nuts. You can Twin Twisters with this, pop 3. You can easily, you know, like, discard this for any of the Dangers, pop more cards, Twin Twisters. Twin Twisters is always going to pop more than just 2 cards at this deck, and this card is always going to pop more than just 1. Like, he basically destroys a card on the field by rolling a die. If it's basically not a 1 or a 6, you destroy the card, and he's not once per turn. So, like, he's just stupid, and discarding is not a cost. But yeah, that's my Danger Dark World deck profile, you guys. If you want to see duels and test hands, just let me know. I got you guys covered, promise. God bless you guys. Make good choices. Don't hurt your brain cells. Have a beautiful day. Stay tuned for future content, and yeah, I'll be seeing you guys soon. Peace out, yo.